I found myself in March 1966 joining the Northern Ireland Civil Service. I was assigned to the Department of Education, and God, in His providence, placed me in a room rather, with two lovely Christian ladies who very quickly introduced me to the Civil Service Christian Union. I was called up one day to the Permanent Secretary's office, which in the Civil Service is the equivalent of God. And he told me about a job that I was being asked if I would like to undertake. He spelt out a little bit about the job, but he particularly emphasised that there would be a high degree of risk attached to this particular job. Therefore, he gave me 1 hour in which to decide whether I would take it or not. So I went back to my office, paraded round the office for the hour, praying fervently, asking the Lord for guidance and His leadership in this. I think it was in his book, Richard Wurmbrand, the Romanian pastor who was imprisoned for his faith, saying that on the day that he was being arrested and taken away to prison, he remembered that in the Bible it says 366 times, do not be afraid. In other words, for every day of the year, including a leap year, God was telling us not to be afraid. I may have thought, actually, that people were overplaying the security aspect of the job until I arrived to take up my post. And the very first thing that I was told to do was update my will. The second thing that I was told to do was to go and have my photograph taken. And the reason for that was that this was for the SAS, so that if I was taken a hostage and they had to break in and try to rescue me, that they wouldn't shoot me by mistake. And sure enough, within 6 weeks, I was given the information from a senior RUC officer that yes, my name was on a paramilitary hit list. And he then proceeded to give me all the standard security advice that was being handed out. And also all this security was suddenly put into my home. 2 or 3 of my closest friends in the Civil Service Christian Union prayed for me faithfully all through those particular years that I was doing that job. And I knew just how valuable those prayers were. Because every so often I would have a regular update from the RUC, and the guy would invariably say, we don't understand it. Every time your name comes to the top of the list, it goes right down to the bottom again. And I had to say, well, you may not understand it, but I do. It's because people are praying for me. Sometimes we were on call 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. And sometimes I had to go out at night, and would often have had to drive through hostile crowds and so forth. And yet I never, ever had any concern. I knew that God was with me, and therefore I could rely on Him. And I came across a verse too at that time in Daniel. And the Lord said to Daniel in Daniel chapter 10, in verse 19, He says, don't be afraid, for you are deeply loved by God. Be at peace, take heart, and be strong. And so I would really say that my faith grew, and certainly my trust in the Lord grew so much during those particular years. So I do thank Him for the experience, for His leading and for His guiding and for holding me fast through all of that time. And I'm still on His Majesty's service to this day.